Allied operations to retake Italy had started in September of 1943, when the British Eighth Army under Montgomery had landed on the toe of the country. On the 9th of that month, the U.S. Fifth Army under General Mark Clark landed at Salerno, and against the army were German forces under Field Marshal Albert Kesselring. The German strategy was to use the mountainous terrain to their advantage and conduct a series of fighting withdrawals, falling back to a number of defensive positions and forcing the Allies to pay dearly for any gains in the rough terrain. Now, despite advancing northward and taking Naples, which allowed them a place to set up an airbase, the Allies bogged down along a German defensive line that ran across the peninsula south of Rome. Now, Kesselring's position was named the Gustav Line, and the key to the position was the monastery town of Cassino. Whoever controlled Cassino would control that narrow strip of coastal land that allowed easy access to the north and Rome. When Kesselring's German troops entrenched there, an Allied breakthrough seemed an impossible task. Now, Winston Churchill himself came up with a plan to create a diversion, volunteering American troops to land at the seaside resort town of Anzio, and he hoped that this would cause the Germans to pull troops away from the Gustav Line, allowing for the Allies to clear a gap and continue their northern progress. Now, Clark was initially skeptical of the plan, dubbed Operation Shingle, as he didn't feel like he was given enough men for the job. He did entrust the operation to his subordinate, General John Lucas, though Clark did fail to fully detail Lucas about a number of the details of the operation. To counter a general sense of skepticism, British General Harold Alexander began to supply more British forces to the operation. Now, Lucas was even more distrusting of the plan than Clark, writing in his diary, "They will end up putting me ashore with inadequate forces and get me in a serious jam. Then who will get the blame? The operation has a strong odor of Gallipoli, and apparently the same amateur was still on the coach's bench." This amateur referring to Winston Churchill, architect of the disastrous Gallipoli landings of World War I, and a strong advocate of Operation Shingle. On January 22nd, a combined American-British invasion began. Now, surprisingly, at the time, there was light resistance from German forces, and the Allies initially took only 13 casualties. By midnight, 36,000 men and 3,200 vehicles had landed. And at one point, a scouting patrol actually entered the outskirts of Rome. However, a fatal flaw was beginning to form in the Allied plan. Now, the port at Anzio was surrounded by a flat marshland, which Mussolini had drained years previous to the battle in order to create farmland. And this area had to be continually pumped out to keep it dry. Further, Anzio was surrounded on the inland side by high hills, where the Germans could take up positions and shell the hell out of a landing party. Now, the Allies were lucky that this hadn't occurred when they chose to land, and it was essential that they move fast to take the highlands, thus protecting their beachhead. Unfortunately, Clark hadn't emphasized the import of moving rapidly to the already cautious Lucas. And instead, Lucas spent his time organizing his forces and digging in to defend the beach against a possible infantry counterattack. Now, on the German side, Kesselring rushed reinforcements to Anzio, preparing for the Allies to push inland. And he was pleasantly surprised that the Allied push hadn't come yet, as it gave him time to move his troops around and set up artillery positions in the hills. German troops also knocked out the pumps in the field, allowing water to reflood the marshlands. Within 2 days of the invasion, Kesselring had 40,000 troops, forming a line to the north and east, leaving only the sea as a route for Allied escape. By the 1st of February, Lucas now had 69,000 troops at his disposal, and he decided it was finally time to take the initiative. This advance, however, quickly broke down, and the Allies were crushed. In one case, the Battle of Cisterna, 2 Ranger battalions were cut off and chewed up by the Germans. The Rangers began to surrender individually or in small groups, prompting others, acting on their own authority, to shoot them. Of the 767 men of the 1st and 3rd Ranger battalions, 6 returned to the Allied lines, and 761 were either killed or captured. Both sides began to intensify shelling and bombing efforts against their respective foes. By the 18th, the Allies had been pushed back to their beachhead, though the Germans were exhausting themselves in the effort. All told, both sides had lost nearly 20,000 casualties. Lucas had been dealt a bad hand, but he'd also done little to mitigate it, and on February 22nd, he was replaced by American General Lucian Trescott and British General Vivian Eveille. Throughout the next 3 months, the battle line was generally static, as the Allies increased their forces up to 150,000 men. On May 23rd, Operation Diadem was launched. After a heavy artillery bombardment from land and naval guns, Allied infantry and armor pushed hard against the Axis lines. Now, the front was divided into 2 parts, with American and British forces pushing along the Gustav Line to the south, which diverted German resources from Anzio proper and allowed the troops on the beachhead to expand their pocket. While Diadem did roll along as planned, the German resistance did remain stiff. With 3 months of preparation, they'd fortified themselves in buildings and set up trenches in the hills. However, General Clark was losing perspective as the operation progressed. He wanted to be the first Allied commander to take Rome, and he ordered forces to swing leftward. Now, this dumbfounded Operation Commander Truscott, as it not only sent his troops up against points where the Germans were strongest, but it halted any plans to cut off and capture Axis troops that were fleeing northward, and allow them to set up defensive positions north of Rome. When Truscott tried to contact Clark, who was not physically on the battlefield, he was greeted with radio silence. The Allies pushed hard, and they were able to overcome the German defense by the end of May. Hitler ordered Kesselring to pull his troops back, and on June 4th, General Mark Clark gave a self-aggrandizing press conference from the Capitoline Hill in Rome. Now, to keep the British, who'd fought and died along with the Americans, from diluting his glory, he stationed American MPs at road junctions to keep these British troops out of the city. Now, the Allies had incurred 43,000 casualties, while the Axis forces 40,000. And Kesselring happily pulled his troops further north to fight another day. Churchill used his considerable PR skills to sweep his involvement under the rug, as Winnie was so skilled at doing. Now, war correspondent Alan Wicker wrote of General Mark Clark's handling of the operation, "This vainglorious blunder, the worst of the entire war, lost us a stunning victory, lengthened the war by many months, and earned Mark Clark the contempt of other American and British generals. They saw an operation that could have won the war in Italy thrown away at the cost of many Allied lives because of an obsession and vanity of one man. If General Mark Clark had been in the German army, Hitler would have had him shot." Now, on a personal note, I worked for a number of years with a nurse who'd served as a medic at Anzio. Now, Bill and I used to sit around during the quiet times of our night shift, and he'd smoke and talk about the war. As he used to tell me, if Anzio was a shingle, our guys were treated like the shit on a shingle. Alrighty, this week's game is Anzio Beachhead, and it was published in 1969 by SPI Games, and its designer was David Williams. Now, this is an extremely early SPI game, so the rules on it are fairly basic, and there is a tendency to leave stuff out, so kind of bear with me when I'm going over these rules. You'll have to sometimes use your best judgment from other war games to play this one. Still, I think it's an interesting game. Now, on the counters, the important information are the 2 numbers. The first represents the unit's combat strength, or the unit's basic strength when it's attacking or defending, and the second is the unit's movement factor, or how many clear terrain hexes a unit can move through in an impulse. Now, while the units all have the appropriate NATO symbols on them, in this game it's only cosmetic and it doesn't affect play in any particular way. Now, the German player places their at-start units on the board as specified in the order of appearance card, and then the Allied player places their assault units at C where indicated. Now, the game's played over 7 turns, and each turn consists of 6 impulses, which are labeled A through F. Now, 3 of these, A, C, and E, are Allied impulses, and 3 of these, B, D, and F, are German impulses. And during an impulse, each player can move as many of their units as they like. However, the number of movement points allowed changes for each unit at different impulses of a turn. So, for example, an Allied unit could move its full movement factor on the A and C impulses and half of its movement factor on the E impulse, while the Germans could move half their movement factor on impulse B and their full movement factor on impulse D and F. Now, one thing I can't seem to find in the rules is if movement's halved, whether you round the movement factor up or down. So to be consistent, I say round it up. Now, up to 2 regiments or brigades, or 4 battalions, or 1 regiment or brigade and 2 battalions may be stacked on 1 hex. And units can pass through hexes containing friendly units, but they can't stop on these hexes if it would surpass the stacking limit of that hex. Now, units may never enter the same hex as an enemy unit. Now, the 6 hexes surrounding an enemy unit are that unit's zone of control, and during impulses A and C, the Allied player may enter a German zone of control, though they have to stop movement for the impulse at that point. During impulse E, the Allied player cannot enter a German zone of control. Now, the same applies for the Germans, though they can't enter an Allied zone of control in impulse B, but they may in impulses D and F. Now, if a unit starts its movement in an enemy zone of control, it can leave that zone of control, but it extends its entire movement for the impulse and moves only 1 hex. And units can't leave one enemy zone of control and enter directly into another. Now, if the unit enters a wood or a swamp, it has to stop on the first hex that they land on, and they can then proceed through these woods or swamps at 1 hex per impulse. Now, units can move up and down rivers at normal rates, but they have to cease movement if they're crossing. And in the next impulse, they can move normally. Now, on roads, all movement factors are doubled, and road and non-road movement can be combined. And units can also pass freely through woods and swamps and across rivers on roads. And finally, there's these unfinished roads. Now they have no effect on movement, except that units can pass through obstacles like swamps, rivers, etc. on these unfinished roads as if they were crossing clear terrain. Now, unlike most games that have an I go, you go system, Anzio Beachhead's a little more complex. The Allies can only attack adjacent German units on Impulse A, and the Germans only on Impulse D, and combat occurs after all movements finish for that impulse. Now, obviously, with such a system, attacking adjacent units isn't mandatory, and it's up to the player to determine which adjacent units they wish to attack. Not all adjacent units need to be attacked. Now, several attackers can combine their attack factors to attack a single defender, and battle odds are determined by totaling all of the attacking unit's combat factors in one battle and comparing them with the defender's combat factors. And the attacker's factors given first, with the result simplified into an odds ratio. And odds are always rounded off in favor of the defender. Now, to obtain a battle result, you roll a die, and you match the die roll with the odds comparison on the combat results table. Now, if a unit's attacked with 7-to-1 or greater odds, it's an automatic victory, and the defender is immediately removed. Now, there's several different combat results that can occur. The first is an exchange, and basically in this case the defender loses all of their units, and the attacker must also remove units whose combat factor is at least as great as what the defender lost. Now, sometimes this won't work out evenly, and then the attacker has to lose the excess. Now, the defender's losses are always calculated according to whether the defender's combat factors were doubled, tripled, or at basic odds. An ALM or a DLM means that all losing units are removed from the board, and A stands for attacker and D for defender. In the case of a back 2, the loser retreats all the units in the battle 2 hexes to any hex the winner desires. Now, the retreating units ignore terrain restrictions, and if a unit can't retreat the full 2 squares without going into or through an enemy zone of control, it's eliminated instead. Now, they're also eliminated. The only place that they can retreat to is a friendly stack that would cause the units to violate stacking rules. However, the attacker's first choice always has to be an open hex. Now, these hexes that have a gray line around them are tripled hexes, and units in tripled hexes have their defense factor tripled. They don't, however, attack at triple strength from these hexes. In regards to rivers, when all attacking units are on river squares, the defender is doubled, and the defender is not doubled if they're attacked from river and non-river squares simultaneously, and a unit's only tripled when behind a river in a tripled square. In regards to order of appearance and reinforcements, both sides get reinforcements periodically during the game. Now, note that the order of appearance cards call for these new units to enter at varying impulses. So a German unit called to the board on impulse 2B could not attack and could only move half its movement factor on that impulse. Now, new German units appear on any hex around the edge of the board. No limits set on the number of units that can come on through any one hex. And if they come on during impulse D or F, they can enter directly into an enemy zone of control. Now, German units entering through any of the south edge hexes have to stop and move no further the first impulse they enter the game. And if they're entering from any other hex, German units don't count the first board hex as part of their movement for that impulse. Now, after Impulse 1A, Allied units can only enter through Anzio or Nettuno, and the first hex ashore is not counted against their movement factors. And no Allied reinforcements can be brought on anywhere during an impulse when a German unit is in or adjacent to Anzio or Nettuno. Now, the Allies may not enter either port until a combat unit has spent one full impulse on each of these hexes. Now, the Allied player starts the game by invading a specifically designated beach square, and they can move these units ashore and inland as if they were making a normal Impulse A move. The first beach hex costs 1 movement factor. Now, the Allied player can also use roads and attack on the first hex. As I mentioned before, subsequent invading units on later impulses and turns may only come ashore through Anzio or Nettuno. However, they don't count the first hex ashore as part of their movement factor. Now, if a German unit's forced off to retreat off the edge of the board, they're not eliminated. Instead, they can be brought back on the board 2 impulses later, and they re-enter through any board edge hex. However, Allied units forced off the board are eliminated, as are all Allied or German units that are forced out to sea. Now, on every A impulse and every D impulse, the Allies get 3 combat factors of naval gunfire support. Now, gunfire support can be used up to 4 squares inland, counting the first coastal hex. On the A impulse, when the Allies are the attacker, the 3 factors can be added to any attacks within range, and the German defender must be within 4 squares of the coast. On the D impulse, when the Allies are the defenders, the 3 factors can be added to the defense factor of any Allied unit 4 squares from the beach. In this case, however, the Allied player must make a side note of which units will get the support before the Germans make their D-impulse move. And the support defense factors are not doubled even if the defender is doubled. As a result of this, the German player may find his 3-to-1 attacks becoming 2-to-1 attacks unless they plan carefully. Now, naval support cannot take casualties on its own. It can only be used in conjunction with ground units. On Impulse 4D, the Allied player receives 8 air attack factors, and before the German player makes their move for that impulse, the Allied player makes a side note of which of their units will get air support. And when the German player attacks, the air support is declared just as if it were naval gunfire support. Of course, the additional defense factors can be used anywhere on the board, and if the Allied player chooses, they may save some of these 8 factors and use them offensively on Impulse 5A. They may not be saved longer than Impulse 5A, and in a similar fashion, the Allies get 12 factors either on Impulse 6D or 7A. Now, the Allied player never needs to state how much air power they're using on a particular impulse. There's also a morale component to the game. After the German players moved all of their units and declared exactly who is attacking on Impulse 4D, they must be attacking at least 10 Allied basic combat factors. The Allied player checks for morale. They roll a die, and a 1 or 2 means that morale's cracked. And this has the following effect. First, all German attacks during that impulse are increased by 1 column on the odds table. And second, after all battles are fought, victorious German units have special movement privileges. They can advance 2 hexes, shoving aside any Allied units in their way, and ignoring Allied zones of control. Now, the first hex pass-through must be that of the defeated Allied unit, and only German units which actually won the battle move so. Allied units cannot be shoved aside if it would result in them being eliminated, moved into enemy zones of control, out to sea, off the board, or overstacking. And if morale doesn't crack on 4D, try again on 5D. If it still doesn't crack, don't try any further. The above special rules can only be used once per game. Now, the Germans win by, at the end of the last turn of the game, they eliminate all the Allied units from the board, or they have at least 1 unit in either Anzio or Nettuno, or adjacent to one of these ports, or, thirdly, they have at least 2-to-1 superiority in combat factors over the Allies, and have either occupied or been the last units to pass through all the tripled squares on the boards, except Anzio or Nettuno. The Allies win if they can avoid all 3 of these conditions. Hey everybody, I'm back again with another game, and this week it's going to be Anzio Beachhead. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Now, we start with turn 1 and Impulse 1, which is the Allied Impulse, or Impulse A, I guess it is. And so during Impulse A, you can see by the little up arrow here symbol, you have full movement and they may attack, although they're going to be hard-pressed to attack. I suppose this unit here might be able to be moved out, but whether that's worth it or not, I don't know. Let's go ahead and just get started moving, everybody. And I'm going to move my units. Now, it doesn't count for this first hex, at least in this turn. After that, or impulse, after that way, it will count. So we're going to start here and go here, and then this guy's going to go down here and stop. Reason being is I want to use this river. That'll double everything, so that'll be helpful. Okay, over here, let's get these guys kind of stacked a little bit. And all these guys can move 5 or 6, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll stop there. And then we're going to go here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these guys can move 8, 4, and 4. Sometimes I get messed up on these stacks and I don't move them right, so kind of have to keep an eye on that. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess I could move there, but I think I'll just stay separate here. And then these guys can move 4. So they can go 1, 2, 3, 3.5, I guess. And then this guy can go 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully we're going to use the woods to kind of protect ourselves here. And I think that's going to be it for their turn. So we can move on to the next one. And now we can bring in all these German units. Going to be 4 routes of attack here. There's going to be coming down here along the coast, and then coming through the center, down here through Corey, and then down here through Latoria. So we'll see how that goes. How am I going to divide these guys out? I think we're going to have to at least take a defensive position here on the coast. So we're going to go, and then we'll put these guys here. They'll bring them in here. Probably need to bring some guys down in here. So 2, 5, 2, 4, 4, 3. Okay. I'll bring these guys up here. Well, I think I'll bring them in here. That's the fastest way to get here. I think I need a little bit of support down here. So, okay. Now we can bring them in. Now we're at half, so half movement and no combat, and you can't enter enemy zones of control for the Germans. So all they can do is go 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, they're moving on roads, so they can go at half movement. Do the same thing here. 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this guy's going to go 1. That counts as 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We're going to round up. So I think everybody's got half movement. Nobody can make any combat, so that's going to be it. We bring in the allies. Now, the rules say that you have to have a unit in Anzio or Nettuno for 1 turn before you can bring others in, and they have to be there a full turn. But I think that's if you've pushed the Germans away. In other words, it's to reopen the port. You basically have to clean out any pockets of resistance, and so I generally ignore that rule until we get German units around the port itself. Okay. This has got a full movement, no combat. We want to keep all these guys pretty much in place. There really isn't any purpose for taking German units. Basically, all we've got to do is defend. So we're going to try to keep our line together here. And I'm going to move these guys. This counts as 1 now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and these guys can move 8 and 6. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to split them up. I'm going to try to keep them. Well, maybe I'll go here, and he can stop on that one. Down here, I want to move him in here. And then I think I'll move this guy here and this guy here. Reason being is there's a river there, so that would be attacking from a river hex. We don't want that. We want to use rivers to our advantage. And I think that's going to be about it. And the Germans get to go. Now this is their big push. So we're going to go where do we want to go? I think I'm going to try to tie up the Americans down here, and then I'm going to try to push against Anzio and Nettuno on the north. So let's do that. That's pretty weak. 1, 2, 3. We'll go in here. And then this guy's going to come down. 1, 2, 5. We'll move him into here. And then there's my stack of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. We'll go. Well, let's we can make that easier. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Down here, gonna stack and gonna move into a zone of control, but I'm not going to attack. Actually, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can only fire from there. Okay. Those two guys will go there. Okay, let's see how we do. Now, we can't attack this one. Here we're going to attack with 9 and 18. And 5 and 6 against 9 and 5. Okay, so we've got, let's figure our odds first before we decide to attack. So we've got 18 and 11, so 29 to 14, but I can use a defensive factor here. If I can use up to 3, 15, 16, 17. So that would make it 1-to-1 odds. And I think in this game you never want to attack with 1-to-1 odds if you can help it. Actually, that's not true because these guys are going to be at half strength because they're fighting from a river. So they're going to be at 9, 18, and 11 is 27 divided by 2. So what's that? 13 to... Yeah, they'd be at 1-to-2 odds. Here, I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, and 8 to 9, and this guy's doubled again. So again, I'm not going to do anything. Here, I've got a 7 to 9. I don't really want to do anything there either. Because, again, 1-to-1 odds in this game are deadly. If you look at the CRT, you can get an exchange. The only time that 1-to-1 would work for you is about half the time. If you had them surrounded, you could eliminate them. But that 6 down here, I've stacked huge number of units against an entrenched city, and rolled a 6 and eliminated just a scat of units. So, don't think we want to do that. I think we need at least, if they're surrounded, 2-to-1, and if we're just going against them, 3-to-1. So we'll hold off until we get more guys in place. Okay. Allies go, and this is going to be impulse E. I missed putting that impulse there. So allied impulse E is going to be half movement, no combat. Can't enter zones of control. So we're going to go... Going to pull these guys back and go 1, 2. We're at half movement. Yeah. I think we'll just stay right there. Again, if we can keep from attacking, getting lured into an attack, I think we'll be okay. And then we'll go with the Germans, and we're going to stack some guys here. Let's bring a guy in here. And then we'll bring these. Actually, we need to bring these guys in. So we're going to go. Let's see, this is full movement, but no attacks. So we're going to go. Nine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we can stack 4. Let's just double check here. I got to check my stack. Yeah, we can stack 4 with the 2s. Okay. And we'll hang tight. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll go there for 5. And then down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll stay right there. I don't know. It's 2 to 1. We'll stay right there. I was going to try to goad them into an attack. And that's going to be it. And so we go to turn 2. So now it's time for the allies to move. And we're going to bring in these guys. I think we're going to first of all bring this guy in here. He can go 1, 2, 3. He can't really go. He can't make that. But this guy can. Let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, can he stack? A 3 and an X, can they stack? Nope, they can't. Okay. Well, he's no good there. Let's do a little working around here. We'll move him down here. I think these guys, we might be able to make life rough for these 2 units. So let's go ahead and try that. 1, 2. He can't go any further. But this guy can come up here and stack on him. And we can come here. And, oh, I was going to try, this guy would be nice to get him out of the way, but I don't think I can. Let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can 2 3s stack? Yes, they can. Okay, makes a heck of a powerful attack there. We're going to go ahead and move in there and move in here and move this guy up. And then we're going to come down here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and here. Okay, I think I've got everybody. Here we're going to attack. I think we'll attack these guys. Or no, we're going to attack. We're going to lay into this unit right here. Now we're going to add our 3 from offshore, from the offshore shelling of the ships. And so let's figure our odds. We've got 9 and 5. Oh, I got a cat here. Oh, down, buddy. Okay, we've got 14. And then here I'm going to have 29 and 38 to 15. So 2 to 1 odds. Yeah, let's try it. And we roll with a 1. 2 to 1 with a 1 as a defender eliminated. Well, that worked. We risked it and it worked. So those units are out of here. Okay, down here, definitely these 2, so that's 12. So that's 30, 42 to 9. Let's going to be 4-to-1 odds. We roll a 3 at 4-to-1. Defender back 2. So we send this guy packing. Here we've got 11. So that's going to be 33. Not going to be enough. I'm not going to have the odds for that. Now down here we've got 18 and 27, 36, 39 to 7, 5-to-1 odds with a 5. Is the defender eliminated? Okay. And that ends the impulse. Now the Germans get quite a few units this time. And they can move half movement, no combat, can't enter zones of control. So basically we're going to try to get these guys into somewhat of a coherent force. Let's see, where am I going to go? That's the big question, is where to go. We can hammer here, and we can try to get through here. Yeah, so far nobody's really come out into be in a position where I think we'll move forward. Actually, let's get this guy in. He can move a total of 6. He can move that far. Yeah, these poor guys can't move very far because of the movement restrictions. They'll come down in here. And I'll bring in another unit. There. Okay, that's all the further I can go, this impulse. So we go to the American impulse. Now, this is the impulse where they can move, but they can't fight. We need to surround this guy. That's going to be important. 1. He has to stop. We'll come into here. I think we can, yeah, we can move into zones of control. Right, okay. We can move into zones of control there. And we'll come in here. Up here, we want to just stay in position. And then one, 2, 3, 4. We'll kind of stay there as a backup. And then here, okay, there we go. I don't think there's a whole lot we can do other than just kind of try to back our line up. When we get a chance to take out a German unit when they make a mistake, then we will, but at that point there's not much else we can do. Okay, I think that's it. So we go to our Impulse D. And this is the one, this is the move and fight for the Germans. Try to separate these guys out a little bit. Where are we going to... 1, 2, 3, 4. I could move 1. Need a more mobile unit down here. Oh, I've got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to isolate me. And then I'll bring in another. I'll bring in a 9-4 here. Okay, up here. I'm going to save this guy back. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to move these guys forward first, then we'll bring in these reinforcements. Any weaknesses in the line? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And move him away. He's just going to get clobbered. Plus, he's going to be able to add a little protection here. Okay, and we'll stack him here, and then this guy's going to go. There we go. Okay, everybody's moved. We're in a really bad spot to attack there, so that's not going to be much. Not much there. Not much there. 6 to 9, nothing there. So pretty much the Americans they've at least delayed the Germans for a little bit. Okay, Americans get to go, and this turn they have half movement, no combat. Okay, not a whole lot, but I'm going to back this up. I'm going to send... Actually, I'm not going to back that guy up. I'm going to go down here and move into position there. And I think that's going to be good. I'm going to fight behind a river there. Move him back behind the canal. And I think that's going to be it for them. We go to the Germans. And at this point, they have full movement, but they don't have any combat. So we're going to move this guy in, this guy in, this guy in. This guy in, this guy in, and we're going to just take a fairly major advance here. Going to move into position here. And I think save this guy for reserves right now. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. He could get pretty chewed up in there, so we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Come and get me. And then this guy's a 9 to 5, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that guy's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll hold back there. Okay, and that ends turn 2. There's no combat, so we're good. On to turn 3, impulse 1, and we bring this guy in. Now this is the impulse where the allies can make their attack. They can move an attack. So let's try to do that. We're going to bring this guy down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to go here. 1 will cross 2, 3. I think we'll try this guy here. Here, we'll just kind of have to figure these out as we go. I can still up here use my naval bombardment here to fire. So we'll definitely go there. And then this guy, I think I'll chip him down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically just kind of trying to keep filling holes here. And then we'll move north to south. Or not north to south, we'll move, I guess it's east to west. Yeah, this is the bottom here is the east part of the map. This is the north part. So I don't know whether, and I'm not sure, you know, I think the Germans could come in on this side. I think they can do that. I think that's the south side of the map. I'd kind of forgotten about that, but that's okay. Okay, let's start here. Definitely want to attack here. 18, 27, and 9 is 36. So 6 to 1 odds with a 3 is going to be a elimination. So we can take him out. Okay, here we've got 9, 12 to 6, 2 to 1 odds. Probably worth taking a shot at. We'll go ahead and do it. 5. It's exchange. Okay, so we lose 3 and 3. We'll definitely... Or no, 6 and 6. That'll have to be that guy. So we kind of came out behind on that one. Okay, here we'll check out 33. Not enough. Okay. Here we've got 30 to 12. Okay, let's add these guys. So 42 to 12, 3 to 1 odds. We'll take it. And we get a 6. 3 to 1 with a 6 is a defender eliminated. Well, that was worth it. Okay, and then here, this guy's not going to have enough. He's going to stay defensive. Here, 8. I think we're going to... This is a tough one. Deciding whether to attack here or attack here. I think we're going to go ahead and try to attack with these guys. So we're going to take 9 and 6 is 15, 24, and then I can add 3 more for naval bombardments. That's 27 to 2, 4, 6, 8. So 3 to 1 odds with a 3. Defender back 2. So we'll send him packing back. Now, I think that's all that we can do. Let's see, these guys had 6, 12, 18 to 12. Now, not enough. Okay. So I think that's going to be it for the impulse. Now the Germans go. This is their bad when they got half. They cannot move into zones of control. So we're going to have to figure out where to go here. We're going to go out of zone of control here. I think I'll pin him down here. Actually, we'll stay in the zone of control there. We'll stay and we'll just pin that guy. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hold on a second. Where'd he come from? 1, 2, 3, and there we go. Oh, we can't enter zone of control. I forgot. We can't enter zones of control on this one. Okay. Let's take it. Oh, can't enter zone of control there. So we're just going to have to move into position here. And we'll move up to the city there to keep him. That's all I can do. Okay. Full movement, no combat for the Allies. Move into place here and here and here. We'll take a defensive position here. We'll come down and fill that gap. I think I want to stay defensive here. And that's it. Okay, now the big German push. We'll go here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to move these guys down here and him up to here. And then this guy in place here. And I think that's it. So that the Germans get it. We'll see where we can attack. This was the area we couldn't do much from. Actually, he's not. He's attacking from a river this way, so we can get a full shot here. I could go ahead and move in here, which I'll do. Okay. So now we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9 is 17, and 11 is 28. And I'm going to use my naval defensive on this one. I don't think it's either or. I think you can apply it to both. So, I was talking and then I lost track here. 11, 20, 28 to 18. So 1-to-1 odds. Yeah, we'll do it anyway. And we get a 6. Okay. Just to show what happens with 1-to-1 with a 6, it's an attacker eliminated. So for the Germans, that just broke them right there. Shouldn't have done it, but no cojones, no glory. Okay, let's try here. 3, 6, 9, 12, and 39 to 18. That's going to be 1-to-2 odds. Not what I want. Okay, so let's try right here. We've got a 18 and 9, 27. 36, 45 to 12. So 3-to-1 odds with a 3 is a defender back 2. Okay. Down here we've got 11 and 8, 19, 28 to 8. So 3-to-1 odds with a 3, back 2. Not much there. And then here I've got a 9. And 5. I forgot to move that guy. 9 and 5, 14 to 3. 3 to 1, or 4 to 1 odds with a 2 is an exchange. Okay, so they lose 3, and then this guy loses 3. Yeah, you really need to stack a large unit with a small unit so you can make change easy. Okay, kind of a confusing round, but I think we got it there. Not a great look for the Germans right now, but we'll see. Okay. Allies get half movement, can't enter zones of control, so we're going to go 1, 2, and then here. Here I'm going to move I think I'll stay put here. Here I'm going to move onto the river and then down here. Okay, and that's about all I can do there. And then the Germans are going to bring in some units. And this is full movement, no combat. Okay. Well, this guy's going to be a problem because he's going to try to knock this guy out. So we need to stick to him somehow. And I think we're going to do by coming down here. I can go full movement, so 1, 2, 3. And then this guy's going to come into place here. I'm going to stick to this guy, and then I'm going to come down the river here. Come over here. And come over here. Don't see a lot else I can do. Maybe, yeah, I think we're going to, it's just going to be hard. Oh, here we got to bring this guy in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll move him in there. Okay. Okay, on to next turn. Now, this is the turn where I can bring in some air support. Let's see, it's on 4B. Is it 4D? 4D, I can bring in air support to defend, or on 5A, I can bring in air support to attack. So we'll just kind of have to figure it out there. Okay, we can bring in our, this is a American phase. This is their big phase. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to move into this hex there. Okay, let's work our way down the line and see what we've got for odds. This is kind of nice because I still have that naval bombardment for 3 points, which I can use up here. Oh, this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we can make our attacks. 9 and 5 and 9, so 18 and then 18, 5. 1-to-1 odds, not going to be a good day. So with 1-to-1, I would need to get... I have a 50-50 chance. This could be interesting. If I go ahead and go here, on the other hand, I can wait for this guy to get in place and give me a little better odds. So we're going to see what's going on here. 12, and I've got a 9, and X and 2s. Can X and 2s stack? Yep, they can. Okay. 9, and 9 is 18, and 6 is 24 to 12, so 2-to-1 odds. Yeah, I'll take it. 2-to-1 with a 3. 1, 2, 3. DB back 2. 1 and 2. I'll just move him right over here. But you can't advance after... Now, advancing after combat, I think, would also help this game a little bit. But okay, here I've got a 18, 36, 48 to 18. 48 to 18 is going to be 2-to-1 odds. I'll take it. 2-to-1 with a 2 is an exchange. Okay. So we lose. The Germans lost quite a few. And then we've got to take 18 out. I'll take out this 12 and a 6 here. So that cost both. I mean, that's, I don't know whether that came out better for the Germans or better for the Allies. That's going to be 22 and 12 is 36. 36 to 33. 1-to-1 odds, not going to take it. Okay, here I've got a 8 and a 4. It's 12 to 8. Not going to take that. Definitely here's 9 and 9 to 2. They're fighting out of a river, so that's going to be, they're going to be halved basically. They're going to be 9 to 2. So 4-to-1 odds with a 1 is an elimination. And then here I've got a 1-to-1 odds, not going to take it. So that's going to end turn. Germans get to go on impulse B. I say turn, I mean impulse. Let's see. I always have to keep checking that stacking chart. Where am I going to stack? I might be able to make a breakthrough. We kind of lost our momentum here as the Germans. We're not doing great there either. Okay, let's bring in some guys in the south here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it? Now this is the half movement. Okay, I got to remember that. This is half movement. They just get to go measly 3 and 4. I'll stick to him so he can't move around and surround me. Can't move into zones of control. Can't do much else. Okay. That's it. Impulse 3. This cat in this no full movement, no combat, can enter zones of control. Move in here. Move here. I'll move in here and here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. That's all we can do. We go to the Germans. And this point we can use, now this point we can use the air support, or we can wait. I think I'll go ahead and let's just see how things go. Okay. So this is the point where we can make our attacks. Don't have a lot here. This 18 could plow through, but I need the support right here. So we're going to come down here and then go over here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down here I'm going to come down and drop in there, and that'll, at least then I won't have to fight from a river standpoint. Here we're going to bring in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, where can I attack? 9 to 4. Or 1 to 1 odds there. Don't want to do it. Here I'm going to get 9 to and 8. 17 to 4, so 4 to 1 odds. I'll take it. And I get a 1. 4 to 1 with the 1's an elimination. So, okay, here 9 to 8, 1 to 1 odds. Don't think I'll take that one. Here, no, I don't have enough there for that guy. Okay, here, 18 and 9, and so that's 27, 30, 39 to 36. 1 to 1, won't take it. Okay, here we're gonna have these guys go ahead. And now I'm gonna use my defense. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 39 to 18, 2 to 1 odds. I'm going to go ahead and try as the Germans to attack. So we're going to do 2 to 1 with a 3. Defender back 2. There we go. It was a risk, but it worked. Okay, and I think that's it for the Germans. So we move to the next impulse, and this is the Allied impulse, half movement, no combat. Okay. Can't enter zones of control, so we'll move out of the, well, yeah, I can move out of the river there. We'll move into place here, and everybody else is going to stay in place. Okay. Finally, we go to the Germans, full movement, no combat. Let's see, now we'll stay put. Oh, we can't, let's not fight from the river. We'll move here. And there. Yeah, we need to advance. That's really, we don't have much choice but to advance. So that ends there's no combat in that, so that ends the turn, and we go to American turn 5. So back with first impulse of turn 5. It's an American impulse, and they get to make their attacks. So the nice thing about this is I can use that air support. I can use 8 strength points to attack for air support, which is kind of nice. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fight this turn and then begin to withdraw back to Anzio. I think that's going to be the way to do this. So let's go ahead. I'm fighting out of a river there. That'd be 1-to-1. That'd be 1-to-2 here. Although these guys could help me a little bit. Tough decisions, really. That's one thing about this game. It's got a lot of little tough decisions to make. We definitely want to try down here. And can't do much. Really, we're kind of in a situation where we can't do a lot. We'll pull him in. He's just way too powerful to let go. It won't hurt to move in here. Well, he's in a pretty good defensive position. Man, I keep debating on that. I think I'll leave him in place. So we will just go down the line here. I've got 8 points I can use for air support. Technically, you're supposed to go ahead and tell what battles you're going to use those against beforehand. 9 and 5 and 9 and 9. I guess this guy can still go back. He can still retreat. Let's go ahead and try to take this guy down here. So we've got 18 and 24, 33 to 12. I'm going to take, of my 33, I'm going to go ahead and add 4 and give me 36 to 12 or 3-to-1 odds. And I get a 1 with 3-to-1. That's a defender eliminated. Okay. Here, not anything really I can do there. Okay. Here, I think I'll attack this guy here with 10, and that's going to be 27 to 10. Okay, 27 to 10 plus we're going to use our other 3. And that leaves me with 1 left, so 33 to 1 odds there with a 5, and 3 to 1 with a 5 is an exchange, okay? So we lose 10 points here, and oh no! See, this is where the small ones, yeah, that came out to be a problem because I lost that guy, because I can't, if I had 1 more point I could have done it, but I don't, so. Okay. 22 and that's 34 to 33. 1-to-1. Don't want to do anything there. 8 to 8, 1-to-1 there. Don't want to do anything. And then down here, I've got, basically it's going to be 18 2-to-1 odds. I'm going to go ahead and take it. And I get a 1. 2-to-1 with a 1 is a defender eliminated. Okay, I lucked out. Man, the die here are strange. They feel really weird, but they give really strange results. Okay, so that's turn, and I've used my air support. Now we're going to go with the Germans, and this is their half move, and they can't move into zones of control. There's not a whole lot they can do here. I could stick him on here to slow him down, which might be something to do. So we're going to come right up here, and we're just going to stick right there. Oh, I can't move into zones of control. That's right. Not much I can do. So I guess we're just going to stay put until Now the Americans have their full movement, no combat. And this is the point, I think, where I want to pull back. So we're going to go... That guy's worth sticking around there. Okay. And I think I'll withdraw here. Can't move out there. Can't move this guy any. I guess I'll move him here. Okay, so basically, well, he can move 4. 1. Oh, he can't because of the river. He's got to stop. Okay. Oh, and then this guy comes in. Where am I? There, we'll defend down here. Yeah, like I think, I was just thinking the south side of the thing. The Germans could have come in here and tried to take Anzio that way. That would have actually maybe been a better way of doing it. I should have probably played the game that way, but hindsight's 20/20. Okay, that's the German move. Or that's the American move. Then we go the full German move. And they don't have anybody else can come in during the game, so gotta look for weak units here. Here, I'll move him. At least he can attack or something. So we'll use him there. I'm going to move this guy up here. Kind of try to do a defensive thing. Okay. So that's the German move. Now they can fight. 18 and 12 is 30 to 18. Not enough. It's going to be 1-to-1 odds. We don't really want to do anything there. Here I've got 12 and 39 and 15 is going to be 54. Two to one odds. Let's do it. 2-to-1 with the 2 is an exchange. Okay. So we use this. Now they do use their doubled amount. So that's going to be 3, 6, 12, 24 that the Germans lose. Ah, that was deadly. So I've got to lose 24. There we go. And we can delete those guys. Okay. Down here, I've got a 9 and 8 is 17 to 8, 2-to-1 odds with a 1 is a defender eliminated. Okay. And we can delete those guys. And then down here, I've got a 4, 8, 17, 19, and 12, 31, and it's going to be halved, so it's going to be 15 to 9, 1-to-1 odds. Yeah, we'll take it. 1-to-1 with a 1 is a defender back 2, which works out because that's going to eliminate him. He can't move into an enemy zone of control. So, okay, that's it for the Germans. We go to turn 5, Impulse E, which is a allied half movement, no combat, no zones of control. We're going to move out. I'm going to stay put, and we're just going to move here and here, and we're going to move out here and here, 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 and here. Okay. And there's our move. And then finally for turn 5 Germans, full move, no combat. Okay. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we can move, but we can't make any attacks, and so that's going to be it for the Germans. And that ends turn 5. Let's go to turn 6. At this point, the Allies can fight. They can move and fight. Not a lot of great choices here. I think fighting there would be helpful. Oh, and we get to use our three naval units, or 3 naval strength points. We'll come in place here, and then we're going to go here. Okay, let's go down the line here. This is within 4 hexes of the coast, so this will work. I've got a 15, and 18 is going to be 33, and I'm going to add 3 more, so 36 to 6. That's going to be easily 6-to-1 odds with a 3, and that's a defender eliminated. So these guys are chewed up. Okay, down here I've got a 9 and 12. Not going to be enough. I'm going to have 1-to-1 odds here with that guy. Let's try here. 9 and 12. 21 to 8. 2-to-1 odds. I'll take it. 2-to-1 with a 3. Defender back 2. Okay. Here I've got a 9. And I'm going to go against this guy in the middle here. So we're going to go with a 9, 18, 22, and 18 is 40 to 9, 4-to-1 odds with a 3. Defender back 2, so that eliminates this guy. Okay, and then those guys are gone, those guys are gone. Here, 9 to 6, well, I'm not going to take that one. And then here I've got a 9, and he's halved because he's fighting from a river. But these guys can add to the combat. 21 to 2, so 6-to-1 odds with a 6 is going to be a defender eliminated. So that chews him up. And that ends the impulse. We go to a German impulse. Half movement, no combat, no entering zones of control. So everybody's pretty much stuck in place here. We could move this guy 1, but that's about all I'm going to be able to do. Could pull out of zones of control, but I don't think I will. Okay, goes to Impulse C. Impulse C is full movement, no combat, so we're going to pull back. This guy's going to pull back. This guy's going to pull back. These guys are in a pretty good defensive position. I'm going to move here. Actually, this guy's going to move in place there, and then we can attack this guy. Okay. That's it. Okay, we go to 6D. The Germans get to go. Let's see. 9, 18, 30, 34 to 18. So still has those 1-to-1 odds. It's just not great. Okay. Here I've got this guy's doubled, so he's at 18. Again, 1-to-1. Down here I've got a 4. And it's going to be 15, 31, 34. Again, nothing. Here I've got these guys. Oh, this guy could have moved. I'll move him. 6, 14, 23, 31, and 43, to 36. It's 1-to-1 odds. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and just do it. 1-to-1 with 5. Attacker back 2. There we go. Actually, we could move him here. Move him back across the river. Okay, that's the end of that. We go to 6E. Again, and 6E is a half movement. So we'll go. I'm going to stay put there, stay put there, stay put there, and there we go. We go to F, full movement for the Germans. Okay, over here, we still got that guy. Moving him up here. And that, I think, is going to be all we can do. So that'll be end of turn. Last turn. Now, again, in this turn, I have 12 air supports, which I'm going to use. You write this down, 12. And we got 3 naval supports. So we could really... This guy's been bugging me the whole time. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use pretty much all I can against him. He's got 18. And the Allies have 15, 24, 29, 47 to 15. I'm going to add 13 points. So that gives me 2 more points. So that gives me 4-to-1 odds against this guy. And we hit him with a 4. And that's a defender back 2. Well, crumb. Okay. Here, that's all those guys. I've got an extra, let's see, I've got 1 extra point here. So 6, 12 to 18, so nothing. Oh, wait, 6, 12, and 21, 22 to 18, it's 1 to 1, so nothing. Here I've got 4, 8, 12, 34 to 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, so it's going to be 1 to 1 there. That's, I'm sure, 1 to 1. 12 to 8, nothing there. 12 to 6, 2 to 1 odds there. Let's take that. Oops. 2 to 1 with a 4. Defender back 2. There we go. And that's it for the, that's pretty much all the Allies can do. Now the Germans can go, and this is their half turn. So they're going to go 1. We're going to move here, and we're just going to try to Zerg rush that guy and move into position here. Okay, that's all we can do. Oh, this is, you can't move into, I forgot that you can't move into those, you can't move into the zone of control when it's like that little half moon. Okay, now it's the Allies' turn. We'll stay put along here. Okay. Try to build a defense up. Okay, and then it's the Germans' impulse. I keep saying I get impulse and turn mixed up, so I apologize about that. At this point, okay, let's see where we can attack. We can make attacks here. 18 and 12 is going to be 30 to 18. 1 to 1 odds, not going to do it. Here I've got a 9 and 18, 24 to 18, 1 to 1, not going to do it. Here I've got a 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 26, 30, 38 to 38 to 42, not going to be able to do that. And then 8, 15 is 23, 27, and 10 is 37 to 12. Okay, 2 to 1 odds. We'll take that one. And we get a 5 at 2 to 1. And it's an exchange. Okay, so 12 points. And we can delete that. And that ends the German turn. And I think that's going to be game because nobody else can attack for the rest of the game. So, and the zones of control are pretty much locked up. The only opening is right here, and there's zones of control that cover that. So essentially, I think that is it. Let me just check our victory conditions here. I'm going to go over to the rules here. The victory conditions say Germans win by, at the end of last turn of the game, eliminating all Allied units from the board. Well, that hasn't occurred. Or having at least one unit either adjacent to Anzio or Nettuno. Haven't done that. Or having at least 2 to 1 superiority in combat factors over the Allies and occupying, well, we might. I don't think we are. I mean, I could count these up, but I don't think we're going to reach 2-1 with those. So I think the Allies won that one. Playing this game, I've seen it go either way. I've seen the Allies win it. I've sometimes seen some bad die rolls from the Allies end up leaving this Via Anziate open, and then the Germans just come in and surround Anzio and Nettuno and take it. And pretty much that's it for the game. In fact, last time I played, I think it was in zone. I was on, turn 4 that happened, and at that point the Allies couldn't really do much else. So anyway, that's what I got. It's a pretty early game, not a very complex one or anything, but I think it's kind of solid. I kind of like the impulse system, and I don't think this ever made any other. I don't think there was a whole lot of other games that came out with anything quite like this. But anyway, that's what I got this week. Not the most exciting play, but we'll get something good next week. Talk to you later. Bye.